Good evening, everyone. Time for this week's silver update. You are looking at a 1 hour chart of silver, and I've drawn some new lines here. This channel that I've drawn here is from the last decline when we touched a high of 31.20, and it seems that we broke out of that channel, kind of meandered above it in the beginning of February, and we seem to be forming up a new trend line, which is drawn by this one. I drew it from the tops of these last highs, and it's now starting to look like support. Also drew in a flag that appears to be forming. Normally, these types of pennants break to the upside, but that's only about a 60-70% chance, 30-40% chance they break down. So it's not anything certain, but it's just an interesting formation. Also drew a support line here. It's not a perfect support line because it really doesn't go as low as a lot of this support. There's a tremendous amount of support we're looking at in the 29, 25, 29.50 area. This is really important because, as you see if you follow Endless Mountains videos, it's very important for the price to churn at a high price to establish itself. A lot of transactions at that price establishes strong support. So we're looking at roughly 29.50 to 29.75 as a level of support, and we're looking at this pennant formation. So we're going to see here in the next day or two how we resolve this, whether we resolve to the upside or the downside. The MACD on this particular time frame is still falling, but is in negative territory, so that's kind of bullish, especially if it rounds up from here. So we'll just have to wait and see how this resolves itself. Wanted to point to a couple of articles. We've got, first of all, this Max Kaiser interview on Alex Jones about this coming Andrew Maguire bombshell. Max is implying that Andrew Maguire, I don't know if you remember who Andrew Maguire is. He's the guy that from London who ended up coming. I don't remember if he testified or not, but he attended the CFTC hearing, I think it was a year ago, March, and supposedly they tried to run him off the road, and he predicted some specific information about JP Morgan's manipulation of the silver market, and it was there was a lot of traction with what he did, and so I lend quite a bit of credibility to the guy because it really did cause quite a reaction. Now, of course, we know that the CFTC hearings ended up amounting to not much, which is what I expected, a lot of people expected. I don't expect the government to blow the whistle on itself, which is essentially what we're talking about, because it seems to me pretty obvious that it's the government behind JP Morgan or Bear Stearns prior to them, or whoever it is, to suppress silver, to make their inflation figures look better because they're printing money like crazy. So I'm not surprised that the CFTC investigations amounted to nothing. And but anyway, nevertheless, I lend some credence to Andrew Maguire because the last time he brought something out, it did amount to something. So we'll wait and see what Max has in store. Next article I want to point out is Ted Butler's latest, and he starts off talking about rare earths because, as a lot of you know, China has pretty much locked up the rare earth market, and he goes to point out that rare earth really isn't that rare. It's a matter of mining it. And then he starts to talk about the characteristics, common characteristics between silver and rare earths, and then he starts to talk about silver. He says, the amazing thing is how few of the world's potential investors appreciate the uniqueness of silver's rare dual role. The ease of investing in silver is taken for granted by the world. Just a few decades ago, silver was in common coinage. This explains why people have difficulty comprehending how such a formerly abundant material could be considered rare today. How many people know that world silver stockpiles are down 90% since 1940? That's precisely what creates the investment opportunity of a lifetime, seeing something before the crowd. It seems preposterous that a material like silver, which the common man carried in his pocket for bus fare or a newspaper, could somehow transform itself into a rare material about to enter a profound shortage. That shortage is virtually guaranteed by silver's unique dual role. The coming rush into silver by investors seeking profits and industrial users looking to stockpile a vital manufacturing component makes a shortage almost certain. There is no way production can ramp up nearly as quickly as the combined force of investment and user demand. For all intents and purposes, silver has been the best investment over the past decade. Those investors who studied the facts objectively and bought silver have reaped multiples of their original investment. Silver will likely be the best investment of the next decade as well. Those who study the facts and act on them by buying silver will be generously rewarded. There is no way anyone can turn the clock back to single-digit silver. Those days are long gone, but in some ways the more exciting times lie ahead. Now, Ted's been a stalwart, and I think Ted is actually conservative. I think what they're doing is what they have to do. They have to, essentially, in my opinion, it's mind control. They have to resort to mind control to keep a large majority of people ignorant about silver, because this just a small percentage of them could cause a stampede that would just blow everything apart. As you know, I've spoken in other videos I've done about the silver conspiracy, and I do believe that silver is the key to the coming crisis, monetary crisis, the crash. I think silver is actually the key to everything. People think I'm crazy, but silver was behind Bear Stearns. It's behind J.P. Morgan. It's behind. It's the most important short that they have. It's, as Ted points out, it's the most shorted commodity. There's a reason why they're doing this. It's because silver is their Achilles heel. If you look on my page, I point out that silver is the stake that kills the financial vampires. It's the bullet that kills the Wall Street werewolves. It really is, and that's why there has to be such a concerted effort to suppress silver, and not just suppress it, not just suppress its price, suppress the knowledge that it is what it is. Because if that knowledge escaped, if enough people catch on, it's over. It's like in Egypt with just the momentum of the crowd. Once that momentum starts, it can't be stopped, and that's what's going to happen when the rush to silver begins. And $30, this price you're looking at here is just ridiculously cheap. I hope you can afford to keep buying. There's a squeeze on. As you know, the unemployment situation isn't getting any better. So the wages, of course, aren't going to rise. So we have inflation is rising. They're suppressing those statistics. Wages are still falling. Real standard of living is falling. House prices, which a lot of people have their investments in, are falling. Now stocks are still rising, but nothing compared to the return on the precious metals. So, but this price here is a ridiculously low price. I suggest you get as much as you can while the price is this low. Last article I wanted to point out is the latest Jim Willie. If you don't follow Jim, you really need to. He's one of those few people that in my opinion, is not beholden to any particular point of view. Some of the others I wonder about, but Jim seems to be pretty much a straight shooter in my opinion, and he talks about just the ridiculous state of the corruption in the U.S. that we have, political, economic, all the way through. Of course, he's a huge fan of silver. He starts to talk about silver with his Silver Breaks Loose of the Golden Link, and he points out how he thinks that silver is going to return 3 times whatever gold returns. I actually think the number is going to be a lot bigger than that. He goes on to point out that silver is stronger than gold. He shows a bull hammer here. I'm expecting $35 in the next move. And he thinks that it's going to move much higher as well. So go ahead and take a look at that. He also does a little thing on the chart that was put out by Adrian Douglas, and he does shows the difference between silver and gold and how silver has broken from the pack. So you want to check that out as well, and I'll put the links down below. So we're watching this very closely. I will update you when we get a resolution from this. Very interesting patterns emerging, and we shall shortly see what happens, and I'll talk to you next time.